All right, thanks for coming. I thought it was a good weekend. I thought the atmosphere at Munn was awesome. We only got two more here, regular season games left, so try and take advantage of playing at home. And in our conference, I think Notre Dame's. I thought they were good when we played them before. They've obviously improved, and that first night, I thought they may have deserved a better fate. I thought they played really well, and then the next night, I thought we executed at a high level, and our power play was good. And then we got our last regular season home games this weekend, and for our seniors, especially the guys that have been here the whole time, right? They're a special group of guys, and I know they're looking forward to playing here at home.
You talked about the three who came before you a little bit. This will be the last group that you sort of didn't recruit. Can you speak to a little bit more of the road they've been in, and the program they committed to is not at all what they're leaving, and sort of the legacy they'll leave with that?
Yeah, I think that's always like a concept, right? You want to try to, if you ever get an opportunity to go somewhere, right, you want to try to leave it better than you found it, and those guys have, and I think, and it wasn't easy, and I think, we talked even beginning of the year, so, this is the last group of guys that remember about 1,500 people being at our game, and so you're not entitled to having a crowd, you have to earn it, and I think that, that first year, we weren't perfect, but I think our fans respected that we played hard, and those guys were a huge piece of it. They're everyday guys, and but yeah, that's a unique circumstance too, right? Where you get an opportunity, and you got to put together a staff, and you're trying to put together a roster. When we took over, I think sometimes people don't realize, but I think I got the job the day after the portal closed, so your roster was your roster, and I think that. Fortunately, we had some of these guys that were recruited by the previous staff that are winning people, winning hockey players, and their fingerprints are all over this program, and we got to continue to recruit people like them.
Following up on that, do you feel a special appreciation for this group for sticking with it and not bailing and seeing this through and believing?
For sure, no doubt. I think. Bazzi's obviously is our captain, right? And he's just such a consistent person. And, Danny Russell's been on our top line since he's been here, right? And I think I didn't know anything about Danny before I got here. And I think he's an everyday guy and shows up. And, Shouds is a great example. Like, Shouds could easily transfer and go play on a power play somewhere, right? And he wants to be part of a winning team. And his impact on our team is I think you see it. And, every day and every year we've been here, right? So, it's a special group of guys for sure, and we were lucky that when we got the job that they were coming in.
With any college sport, seniors and juniors tend to be the reason you win games, especially in the postseason. But the role that Matt and Danny and all play, it feels like they play very, very important ones in sort of this team. Can you speak maybe to their leadership and the way they about that?
Yeah. No, I think it's. Again, you want to recruit, consistent people, and the previous staff had recruited these guys, and they nailed it. They right from day one, you knew exactly that hasn't wavered for them, and I think they, the impact they've had on when we brought in other guys, younger guys, and maybe guys that are high draft picks. They don't take a back seat to them either, and I think that's important, right? You got to believe in yourself, and but yeah, that's. We're lucky. Honestly, I feel fortunate that we got those guys, and I'm thankful for them. And, they're a huge part of why we've been able to grow the program. And I think the impact they've had will last with our group of guys, right? It's not just because they do it every day. This isn't just like a 1 year they're good, 1 year they're not good. These guys have been really consistent.
Your initial conversations with these inherited guys, do you remember that? And was there a point where you thought, hey, it might lose one or two of them?
I remember, you take your head spinning, you take over, had to put together a staff. I talked to all the guys, the players were here still, just finishing up. I think they were getting ready to go. And, one of the things I told them, I'm not watching any video on our team from the year before, and I'm not watching any video on any of the recruits. You get to training camp, best guys are going to play. And, But I remember, all those guys, like, Bazzi was really highly regarded, right? As far as he'd been a captain and a high character kid, same with Shouds and Danny, right? So, when you do your homework and you start calling around kind of who do we have, that was pretty evident with those three, right? That they were high character people. And, I didn't know them great as hockey players, and I was working at a different level. And so I wasn't really in that realm, but I thought for us taking over, you want good people, and it was encouraging to know, people that I trusted reached out to these, you got some really good people.
More important that they were kind of people you wanted than the kind of players.
I think for sure, yeah. I mean, I think you win with good people, and that doesn't mean that everyone's perfect, right? But I think that, you look at probably how these guys were raised and the families they grew up in, right? It's, we're fortunate to have, but I think that is, you try to target good families and non-entitled families and families that want their son to earn things and, aren't looking for a handout or, hey, where am I gonna be on the power play? Like, I understand recruiting, and that's okay, and, but I also think there are people that are dying for, hey, I want my son to learn how to, like, earn things and be part of a team, and it's not about him, and definitely those three families are that way.
Heard you guys watched the gold medal game on Sundays. Coach who's been around a lot of those places, coached some of them. How cool of a moment is that for you to see hockey come away with that goal?
It was awesome, yeah. I was in Grand Rapids. My youngest son had a game, so we watched, I had it on the phone when you're watching him play and watching, so I wasn't able to watch it super close the first half, and then his team actually got off the ice, and they had a room for them to watch, and watching the young kids watch it and watch the overtime winner and celebrate. Our guys came into the rink and watched it, and no, you're right. I mean, I'm super proud to be an American, super proud of our country, and I thought the way those guys represented us was awesome. And for me personally, I owe so much to USA Hockey, right? I obviously grew up playing in that model, and then working at multiple different, whether it be the national team or men's world championships or world junior championships, and that was awesome. And the way the women played as well. I think for both of them to win it in that fashion was really special.
Kind of energy does that give your sport in the bigger picture? This is what happened at the Olympics and the stage on Sunday. How much good does that do for you?
I think there's obviously a lot of eyes on it. I mean, there's not a bigger stage in the Olympics, and you got young people that, boys and girls, that dream about playing in that, and to see their country do it how they did it. And I think you'll see a spike in kids. And there's been a little dip. We went through COVID, and hockey's not a cheap sport, right? And so some rinks shut down, and families going through some hard times and maybe not able to afford them. But I think now you're going to see another spike of enrollment, and that's what it's about. I mean, you really, if you just play the odds, the more people you can get playing, the more likely you're gonna have some high-end players that have a chance to represent our country someday.
You played all your life. How many teeth did you lose?
I never lost any, actually. No, chipped a lot of them, but I never. I think my older brother, I remember one time he was at a tryout in Marquette, and I was watching it with my mom, and he got hit with a puck or something, or an elbow, and so he lost his teeth, and I'll never forget my mom. She went out on the ice to try to find him, to pick up the teeth, and she found him, and they put him back in for him. And so, yeah, I was fortunate, and actually I'm surprised I didn't, like, when I played juniors, you didn't even have to wear a half shield, so I wore no shield, and which I look back was stupid, right? Yeah, I have fortunately made it through with all my teeth.
But hockey players have a little different mentality, right? That's not as big a deal to them as it would be probably to a lot of athletes, right?
No, you're right. It's not. I mean, Charlie Schrammel got, I don't know how many stitches he got in the last game, and he came back, however long it took Doc to sew him up, and came back, and he might have had 10, 12 stitches above his eye, and he came back and played. And we got guys playing with injuries, just like every team this time of year, and I think I really respect that about, you never want to put a player in danger, right? And if a guy's hurt, he's hurt, but it is amazing how, if you watch different sports, like in hockey, like you said, the guys, teeth are knocked out bleeding, and he's still playing.
Baseball guys get a hangnail, they're out 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What do you think the next step is for USA Hockey? Is just the whole entire organization, and what role does the college level play in that?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you know, this is hard, but like, you want to try to make the sport as accessible as you can to everyone, right? And unfortunately, you know, hockey's an expensive sport, you know, and not everyone has, you know, a family that can afford. That's what sometimes I get, and there's no real answer for it, right? The cost to keep a rink open and all these things. But I do think, like, when we lived in Minnesota, I do think that model, if you could ever get to that, where it's, you know, it's all community based, and if you're from Edina and then you try out for the Edina team, and if you don't make the A team, then you go to the B team, and if you don't make the B team, you go to the C team, whatever. And we're here, you can probably find a team. If you're not happy, you get cut and you kind of search around. So I think finding a way to make it more accessible would be awesome, because again, I think it's all about volume of numbers, right? The bigger net you can cast. And then I also think, you know, really getting the message across to people is, like, I think this is happening in every sport, but specialization at such a young age is not good. And so so if you're putting all your eggs in your basket at 8 years old, that I'm gonna be a hockey player, the downside is, like, one, you don't know if that's for sure your passion. You're 8 years old, right? Of course you like, you know, but I don't think you develop it as much as an athlete. And if you look at our top players, even on our team, our best players are our best athletes. So, trying to get the message across. I mean, I think when you have success like this, maybe there's more of a platform for USA Hockey to really push that, hey, play other sports, right? It's not, you shouldn't be playing hockey 12 months of the year at 10 years old, at 12 years old. It's not healthy, and hopefully that can help, because I do think the more we can keep kids in it longer and again, have a big net casted, the more likelihood that we're going to have some high-end players.
Going off of that a little bit, what's allowed the state of Michigan to have this big footprint right now in college hockey with 3 teams in the top 4, but also the Olympics, you got all these players from Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, there's, you know, there's a lot of good coaches in the Detroit area, and you know, the hockey, you know, you look at the Red Wings and the history of that organization. I mean, there was really a boom going on in hockey, and you know, obviously Western Michigan winning the national championship last year. I think you got a ton of kids on the west side of the state excited about playing. But yeah, I mean, I think we got a great hockey area, you know, and it's a little bit in our culture, you know, but I still think we can do a better job. You know, I do think there's again, not trying to find a way to make it more accessible for more people. Good, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.